Hello viewers, thank you very much for watching Gibbs TV. Today's video will be looking at steps to follow to create excellent research design. That is part 3 of the research design videos. Specifically, we will dive into how to create excellent research design. Let's get into it. Let's try to borrow the definition of research design from the previous video. You observe that a research design is a plan or strategy or approach for answering your research question by using empirical data. And from the previous video, you observe that a research design is a blueprint or a plan or the guide or the framework that the researcher utilizes to answer the research question by using empirical data. There are steps to follow to create an excellent research design. So before you decide to do a qualitative or quantitative or a mixed method design, you must decide on the following. 1, your overall aims and approach. 2, the type of design that you will use. That is how you will select participants, your data collection methods, the procedures you will follow, your data analysis strategies. And also remember that there is no one size fits all, but your research design will depend heavily on your research question and purpose. I keep repeating this in all the research design videos because you have to make sure that you have a clear research question and a clear purpose. That will inform the design that you can utilize to embark on your research journey. Very, very important. So we're going to go through these 6 steps for you to be able to come out with an excellent research design. All right. So first step is you define your aims and choose an approach. So in doing that, you will decide on whether to go by qualitative or mixed method. And remember that quantitative studies deals with numbers and statistics, while qualitative study deals with words and meanings. And mixed method is the integration of the two, that's the quantitative and qualitative. So if you decide to talk about qualitative, make sure that the data set is going to be in numbers, okay? Look at the example here. Tape measurement, you see that numbers, specific number, ratio level, and interval level measurement, okay? All right, then for qualitative, you can talk about interviews, okay? Yes, these are words, the transcription of the words, the various interviews into words, sentences, okay? It's a string form of analysis. All right. Then the mixed method, you use both. So either from a survey, there's a questionnaire which has some numbers together with some interviews that you will utilize to do analysis, or maybe a data from a reputable institution like World Bank, okay? And maybe you do maybe a focus group interviews to support the entire study. Very, very important. I will go deeper into quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method by using specific examples to set the differences and similarities that exist among these 3 designs. Very important. Step 2 is the type of research design. So in each approach, there are many types of research designs to choose from. For example, for quantitative research approach, you may choose an experimental research design. That is, if you want to test a cause and effect relationship amongst study variables, then you may choose that, okay? But if you want to just describe the relationship, then you may choose a correlational research design. Or maybe if you want to just describe a trend and characteristics of a given population, then you may go by descriptive, okay? But for the case of qualitative, you can also go by case study design to dive into a specific context. All right, so especially if you want to go by quantitative, you can go by experimental design if you want to look into cause and effect relationship. All right, or if you want to dive into a specific context, then it's a good idea to go by case study. Type 3, step 3, that is, you define your study participants. Step 3, you define your study participants, okay? Next, you define who will participate in your research. That is very, very critical. That is, what population will you focus on and how will you select a sample to collect data from? Okay, very, very important. You need to define your study participants or the study population. That will help inform the sample size. And also go into the characteristics, the distribution of the population, also going to inform the sampling techniques. Are you going to use stratify? Are you going to use quota sampling? Are you going to use random sampling? Okay, so the nature of the population and what you want to study, we also inform that. Step 4, choose method of data collection. Next, you need to choose the method of collecting your data. Very crucial, very critical when you want to choose or come out with an excellent research design. For example, will you ask people questions directly using survey, okay, or interviews, instruments, or will you use observations, okay, or will you use a secondary source of data, okay, maybe from World Bank or from any the archives of any reputable agency that you think may have a data that that will be helpful to your study, okay, whereby you will retrieve the data from the archives of the existing agency. You need to tell readers, okay, are you going to utilize survey, that is questionnaires, style, or are you going to use interviews, instrument, true focus group analysis, or what, okay? Or you're going to utilize observation to collect data. You need to tell readers about that. The next step is you choose data collection procedure. Next, you choose data collection procedure. Procedures concerns how you will use the chosen design and method. For example, how will you reliably measure your study variables? And what steps will you take in collecting and managing the data set as well? The next step is, the last step is the data analysis strategies. Finally, you need to determine how you analyze your data. So if it's a qualitative study, are you going to utilize the thematic method? Okay, or are you going to use the memoing style? Okay, what style are you going to utilize? Okay, and what are the various strategies that you pass through to do the coding and also come out with the patterns to organize your teams? How are you going to do it? And what techniques are you going to utilize? You need to tell readers about that. In this case, you need to determine how you analyze your data. Okay, that may involve choosing statistical tests, okay, that match your study variables when you are doing a quantitative study, or planning your approach to coding and interpreting the data when you are looking at the qualitative study. In conclusion, it is important to know that by creating a research design means making decisions about, one, your overall research objective and approach, whether you will rely on primary research or secondary research, your sampling methods or criteria for selecting subjects, your data collection method, the procedures you will follow to collect data, and your data analysis methods. So all these 6 elements together will help you to come out with an excellent research design. Thank you very much for watching Gibbs TV. I will see you all in the next video.